some of the myths of narcissism is that if you demonstrate one of these things or two of these things, you suddenly have the personality disorder. Again, narcissism right now is super duper trendy. And we're right. Hearing a lot of lay diagnostics going on where it's like, yeah, I was married to a narcissist and I was married to, and we're kind of using this word narcissist when it might be, my marriage didn't work out because we struggled with some selfishness and those types of things in the relationship. So narcissistic traits can also be what we would call in our field adaptive or maladaptive, having a lot of self-confidence, and having a lot of people be jealous of you. That would be one here. There's a lot of words here. An unwillingness to recognize. Hang on a sec. My brain just went totally blank. Being unique or not feeling understood by a lot of people because of your achievements does not necessarily mean you have the disorder.
Right.
And, if you're highly driven, highly focused and whatnot, you can have some narcissistic traits that are quote unquote adaptive, meaning they are serving that individual well. But then again, on that backside, we're looking at, are they harming people in their wake? Right. I've worked for a lot of really driven people who they're kind of bossy. I'm kind of bossy. And whatnot. And there's almost this, like, when I ask you to bring this tool, I expect it right now. And a lot of people would identify that as a sense of entitlement, which is a trait of narcissism. I would say you've got to look at the motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going on in there. If it's just I'm super focused on whatever it is I'm doing and I'm being a little bossy, we can address that from a bossy place. That does not translate into narcissism. So I would say let's put out some, words of caution. We tend to overuse this term in our society right now. And we need to, have a little bit of respect and honor that there's lots of other things going on for people who may have some narcissistic characteristics and whatnot. We've really got to look at motivation, harm, and again, that strong key piece is the empathy piece.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned too, like, they've got to have such and such a number of these things. And that's the case for pretty much all of your psychological diagnoses. It's the case really for most medical diagnoses. Mm-hmm. You can't come in to the hospital and your labs that represent your kidney function are off with no other symptoms, and they're immediately going to go, well, you have kidney cancer, right? That's just not the way it's going to work.
Right.
You've got to have a collection of symptoms that narrow into this is what's going on. So yeah, you can have a couple of these tendencies and maybe even be really strong in your life, but until you've got this grouping of differences or diagnostic criteria, you're not going to be able to say, yeah, this is what's going on.
Right. Absolutely. Alrighty. So are we ready for the 9, I'm going to call these symptoms or characteristics of this disorder?
I think we're ready.
Alrighty. So you remember, you have to have at least 5 of these. They have to be pervasive.
So if you're writing these down for your husband or wife or father, mother,
if you
make sure you're keeping track.
Right. If you are trying to diagnose somebody right now, beware of confirmation bias. Okay. And yes, you have to have at least 5 of these. They have to be pervasive, meaning they happen
can't just come every once
all
in
the
a
time,
while.
right? This is not an every now and then thing. This is a pervasive pattern of behavior in a variety of situations. So if it's like, oh, they're only this way with me, then they're not fitting that diagnostic criteria. So across a variety of contexts. And also, if you're not a licensed professional who has been trained in diagnostics, just do yourself a favor, relax, and let's just enjoy the learning process here. Because diagnosing somebody, recognizing that somebody has an illness is one thing. Diagnosing them, that those labels are can be really hurtful. And this is one of those. Like, I know there have been a couple times where I've had to diagnose borderline personality in somebody, and it was like heart-wrenching because, and it's also important to say that most personality disorders come from individuals who have extreme unresolved trauma.
Right. Well, and we're going to talk about boundaries later and
Yeah.
how you can communicate with people in these situations. So this is not about you diagnosing someone, but if in your head you're thinking,
Right.
oh yeah, there's that, oh yeah, there's that, oh yeah, there's that, that is going to better inform you about how to manage this relationship.
Right, because today's podcast is about recognizing when narcissistic traits or disorders are abusing you, like
Right.
when they've
Right.
become an abuse tactic towards you and what you need to do about it.
Right. It's not
Absolutely.
their existence. It's the fact that they're affecting your relationship and how you manage
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Alrighty. So number 1 is has a grandiose sense of self-importance. And this is demonstrated by exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about my parents tonight because one of them carries this diagnoses as well as with some strong borderline tendencies as an overt narcissist, and the other one kind of carries some more covert narcissist tendencies.
Yeah, blessing for you right there, huh?
Which actually, as a side note, when somebody has, if you're trying to diagnose your spouse, beware that I'm about ready to drop a brick on your head here. There's a phenomenon in the mental health world where when one partner has true narcissistic personality disorder, they are almost always married to somebody who fits the diagnostic criteria for borderline personality disorder. For whatever reason, those two personality types really attract to each other. And I think those numbers are as high as like over 80% of individuals who are diagnosed with true narcissism, with true narcissistic personality disorder